Okay, folks, Andrew Bopros here. Well, I want to do a video talking about a new center that was just signed yesterday. I know getting it to you this morning, but pretty interesting situation. Came from the Raiders. Let's not hold that against them, but we'll see. Andre James was just signed. Plenty to talk about here, guys. I know you guys have been all wanting a new center. Everyone hates on Bradley Bozeman, so plenty to talk about, guys. Let's get into it. Okay, folks, as always, like and subscribe if you do enjoy the content. I'm Andrew Bopros. So let's talk about the man of the hour, Mr. Andre James. And it's a pretty interesting situation with him. There's a lot to talk about. Again, he went to UCLA, played with the Raiders the entire time. I think he was drafted 2019 to 2024, obviously. He started 61 of 80 games for the Raiders, including a postseason game as well. Again, James is Andre James is actually a very, very good center in the league. Actually, 2023 was his best year. 2024 was a little bit of an off year, but we all know the Raiders last year were absolutely a disaster. So kind of don't want to hold it against them, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. So there's plenty to talk about as well, too, in that regard. So again, Andre James now signed with the Chargers. By the way, I've been trying to find out how much money he's signed for. I have no idea. I've been on over the counter. By the way, interesting complete stat of everyone else has been signed. Jalen Johnson, I see 800,000. Jeremiah Jean-Baptiste, 844,000 or 40,000. Still don't see how much Mike Williams. Still don't see Tierra Chard. Still don't see Denzel Perriman. Still don't see Mekhi Becton completely, right? So Deshaun Hand is actually on there as well, about 1.5 million, 2 million guaranteed, which I think is an absolute steal for what we're getting from him. So kind of interesting. So I think the over the cap number, just so you guys know, is a little bit off. Just because the numbers aren't fully understood at this point, and Andre James being another example. But why does this matter, right? Why do we need this guy? The interesting thing is if you look at the stats on Andre James compared to Bradley Bozeman, guys, on PFF, it's almost exactly the same. It's a little bit strange, and I kept thinking to myself, like, well, what's the point? Just to give you an example, Andre James in 2024 overall grade on PFF was 55.6. Pass blocking grade, 65.4. Run blocking grade was 50.2. Okay. We switched to Bradley Bozeman. Bradley Bozeman's overall grade was actually higher, 61.2. Pass blocking grade, 52.3. And run blocking grade, which is even better than what Andre James is, 64.7. Okay. Now, where you could get a little bit, Bradley Bozeman gave up 4 penalties and 4 sacks allowed. Andre James only gave up 2 penalties and 2 sacks allowed. So you could argue that Andre James in 2024 was the best offensive lineman for a very bad team in the Raiders last year. And that's what you can say going forward. Now, talking more a little bit about that, it's kind of interesting too, because you start asking yourself this question, well, why Andre James? What is the reason why? Again, I did mention he's a veteran center. He's done a good job. He took over the starting role for center for the Raiders in 2021. He put together a pass blocking efficiency rating according to throughout his career of 98.0 throughout his career, according to PFF, which is a pass blocking efficiency. I think that is 100% why he is with the Chargers this year. His pass blocking is very good, and his run blocking is good. So you could argue both ways, kind of tit for tat, depending on the stats. Now, again, his 2023 season was much better. In fact, that's really where I think we're really wanting to judge him, because the Raiders were a little bit better in 2023. His best career year came off of 2023. He started all 16 games. Again, he only started 11 games last season, posting his career best across all PFF board grades. James ranked 8th among all centers with at least 500 snaps, with a 74.6 offensive grade and a 71.2 pass blocking grade. He was 10th in the NFL with a 75th run blocking grade on PFF in 2023. So again, 2024 was a bit of an off year, but again, the Raiders were horrible that year. Really, the Raiders weren't great in 2023 either. So you could say he was the rose on the top of crap. Is that right? Is that the right analogy? Anyways, you get my point, guys. He was the best part of the offensive line of a very bad team. So the question that I really have now moving forward is, okay, what is Andre James going to be? Again, and where does Bradley Bozeman fit in this scenario? I know everyone wants to hate on Bradley Bozeman. Actually, Bradley Bozeman's a little bit bigger than Andre James. The interesting thing, Andre James is what, 300 pounds? Bradley Bowman is actually taller and bigger. He's actually 6'5", 325. So, and Andre James is 6'4", 300. So, again, very similar body sizes, but you got to ask yourself this question. Well, maybe does Zion Johnson take the spot? Or does Bradley Bozeman stay in the position? Who knows, right? I just feel like there's a lot that can happen with this team. The good news is it adds depth, right? At the end of the day, it adds a lot of depth to this team, and we're going to sit back and see who actually is going to start again in camp. Now, again, Zion Johnson, we've already heard, is going to be getting some snaps as center to see if he can move over as a center. Who knows? Bradley Bozeman might move to guard if Zion Johnson gets elevated to center. The other thing that I'm just going to say, too, is they're going to cross-train all these guys, just depending on injuries and things that happen during the season. They're going to move people around to fill in gaps. We all know that. Now, another person that I think is really an interesting conversation is what happens to Trey Pipkins. Now, Trey Pipkins, as you know, and I've talked about this in a few other videos, I think he's set to make, if we release him, we were set to save $6.7 million. That's a pretty sizable lump of money that we could use. Ask yourself this question: are we going to let him walk? I don't think we are. I think this team wants to make sure we have as much depth on the offensive line as possible to protect Justin, and we are going to smash the ball down people's throat. Najee Harris is a perfect fit for this team. And you add Andre James, that's just more depth in that position. And you can use him in some specific sets, right? Have him line up as a tight end, and you just run the ball to the right side, and you just go big bodies move in that direction. I'm telling you, they're going to run some heavy jumbo packages when they just need 5 yards, 2 yards, 3 yards. I think we're just going to have these big bodies, and we're going to have plenty of bodies behind to move in if there are injuries that do occur. Because again, guys, we all know we're going to run the ball in the trenches. We're going to control the line of scrimmage, and having more depth, having more opportunities for some of these players to try different positions, I think it's going to be a big thing. So look, at the end of the day, I don't want to get too long-winded. Andre James, it's funny when you look at his stats, you don't think, well, why do we even sign this guy? I think there's two things. One, competitors welcome. Jim Harbaugh clearly wants to have a new face, some more competition at the center position. We have 3 options right now: Zion Johnson, Bradley Bozeman, and now Andre James. All 3 are going to be competing for that role, or at least seeing who fits the position better. Who's going to move to left guard? Who's going to move to right guard? They might even just move Trey Pipkins to left guard, and you just have 3 center positions, and then Zion might just be a swing guy, right? Who knows? I'm really curious to see how this plays out, because it's going to be very interesting to see. And guys, I wouldn't even be shocked if we even, and I know this is going to piss a lot of you guys off, in our first round pick, we might get someone like Booker from Georgia. Guys, I'm telling you, or is it Alabama? Alabama, yeah, not Georgia. I am telling you right now, we are going to win in the trenches. And Najee Harris fits that offensive narrative perfectly, because the guy is consistent. He's not missed a single game in his NFL career. He's going to run the ball, and he needs to be behind the biggest and largest bodies possible. But guys, very interesting to see how this plays out. Again, I think Andre James is a very smart pickup, very easy pickup, very simple. And you never know. We'll see what happens in this situation. Like, another great example, I'm going to give you a scenario here. What if someone's right tackle or left tackle gets injured in camp, and he's out for the season? And, well, we need a right guard or a right tackle. Okay. Hey, what about Pipkins? Can we get him? Great. We'll give you a 5th round pick. Give us a 5th round pick and, take his entire contract, and we'll give you Pipkins. Who knows, right? You'll see how that happens as the season progresses, because I would not be shocked if some injuries start occurring with some of these teams. If Pipkins could get moved, or maybe even Bradley Bozeman gets moved, who knows, right? I really, truly believe stacking these players and seeing what happens is going to be very interesting. So, again, Andre James, it's interesting. When I was looking at his stats, I kept thinking, why are we picking this guy up? But I really think his 2023 season was his best season, and I think he fits this offense very well. So again, guys, what do you think? What grade would you give this? I'm probably going to say a B. But what do you think about picking up Andre James? I really think he was a depth piece. But what do you think? Leave a comment down below. As always, Andrew Bolt Bros. See you guys in the next one.
Hey, what's up? Cameron Dick here watching Bolt Bros podcast. Let's go.
Charged up, Bolt Bros on the night. LA Thunder in electric delight. Bolts in the battle, sparking bright. Charged up, ride the lightning, feel the fright.